Hello, loves. It's Sonia G. Welcome to this live Moonbabes Thursday Night Live Next Level Healing Mini Training. We're talking about transitioning to 12D. Yay! I'm going to pin a comment for our title so that we know what we're talking about. I am so super excited to be here. I have your questions that we've been waiting to discuss and kind of go over so that we have some real practical ways of, what to do as we're building this new world. I don't even like saying it like that. This new earth, right? And everyone's light powers are coming on and all of a sudden it's like, what are we doing? The world is really crumbling. So we got the blanket on because in the retreat room here, it is a little chilly. Hi, loves. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Super excited. OMG, I made it. I love it. Joan of Adventure. I love the handle. Yay. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. And if you have questions, I will be taking more questions also, obviously, as we go. But I feel like I kind of get the feeling and the idea of what we're talking about, which is going to be a lot about what to do with the dense world, what to do with what's going on, like in the physical world around, how to deal with family members, how to deal with karma and stuff, and how to manifest really landing in those higher abundant timelines and, making life work for you right now. Hi, lovelies. So let's set an intention together. As we light this candle, take a deep breath. And then exhale, let all of your thoughts go, making room for visions, understanding, downloads, knowledge to be just coming in, to be present with you, higher self guidance coming in, and everything turning on. Let's make it really easy. Everything turning on, right? Like superpowers on. I spent the days, if you watch my story today, you know that I spent the day learning about water, and we were talking with the waterman, who is also known as Aquaman, with which I thought was really cool. It's on his business card, but about like fluoride and the pineal gland and the third eye and like all of these things. Oh my gosh. And we are talking about my retreat. Thank you, loves. Yes. Oh my gosh. Before I don't tell you this, it's officially open right now. Okay. The page is up. The bonus is up. The cart is open. I am including the bonus starting from 11/11 to 12/12 to then we're starting this retreat. We're doing it differently. It has been quite a birth for me to give birth to this because I am truly going to teach you how to do things that have to be talked about in a very practical kind of way, like how to do grid work, how to open portals and hold them open, how to know who to trust in the astral plane, right? How do you know which entities to work with? How do you know if you're right or wrong? How do you know if they're really there? How do you actually work with the light codes and put them in the grid? How do you know if it's the right grid? Okay, all of these things we're gonna do right here at the retreat at Mikasa, right here. This is the retreat space. Look, there's still amazingness that is here from our last retreat because I haven't moved it because vibes. And look at all the bowls and the crystals and the amazingness. So this is our retreat space. And look at the ceiling. If you haven't seen this yet, it's a pyramid. I don't know if you can see it with the light, but it's in the shape of a pyramid. And this time, we're going to have the pyramid inside of the pyramid room. So I'm really excited. It's going to be all snowy out here, but it's going to be super vibey. And the page is up. It's up on my website, so it's on. I'm going to be adding more information and more like specifics, but as of right now, like, you know what we're doing. And I thought it was going to be like easy quantum healing. Let's, take you through this karmic stuff, but like, which is easy for me. Let me explain it. It's easy for me to teach, but and the things that we've kind of gone through at our last retreat were already very like at the edge, right? Everyone that was here was like, holy fucking shit, we really did that. Like we really experienced that. We really traveled that. Our body shifted, like our body rebirthed, right? So I thought this is a solid, good level to like hold, and let me teach this in different ways. No, we are going like, whoo, supernova. So it's called warrior. It's the warrior mode on, okay? And it's going supernova because we have got to actually come together and do work. And this is going to be applicable whether or not you like come to the retreat, or you do the digital version of it, which I'm like going to announce that part soon because this is going to be like worldwide. I know it, I feel it because I know what has to be done. I just had to get really clear and really clean on holding the energy because there's a lot of people that don't want the shit that we're about to do to happen, but we're going to do it. So now that I can hold this frequency and hold this vibe, and I had to like clear through all my stuff and embody all the things that I needed to do to hold this, we're good. Like we're golden. Like I'm so excited. So everybody has to show up. Everybody's got to do their part. I got to do my part. Whoever's coming, you guys got to do their part. We all got to do our part. So let's talk. So the info is on, okay? And I'll tell you more at the end, but I really, really, really want to start getting into these things. So you guys are saying like, whoa, I only know about 5D. Amazing. See, I tuned in randomly. And randomly means that you're meant to be here because this is how like our soul tribe works. This is how divine synchronicity works, right? Like you randomly find me and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this girl is talking about these things that I've been needing to hear. So yeah, it's kind of wild that way. Okay, so let's talk about the Ds. And so let's clarify this really quick. So the generally understood situation is that 3D is the old matrix world, and then 5D is the new earth world, okay? But there is all the way from 5 to 12D, okay? These are dimensional fields. So let me see is this a question? Oh, thank you for doing this digital. I want to ditch my 5D job and be there in person. It's too soon though. I need the horse before the cart. I love you. Yes, there will absolutely be a digital version too. So absolutely. And it will be fun. I'm excited to have you. So, okay, cool. So 5D, so 3D and 5D are like what people understand, right? And then from 5D to 12D, so 3D is really it's not available unless you still have karmic ties or density ties or emotional stuff or like curses that you have not cleared yet. The only reason why you're still living in 3D for whatever reason, or you're dipping in and out of 3D, is because you have fears and when we say PTSD, but I don't want to use that term lightly, but you kind of have these like cyclical comebacks of like waves of all of this like dark night of the soul feelings that just like hold you and like you have to clear through. Like when you have those kinds of things that take you back, like feelings of the past that keep you depressed about things that have happened in the past that you have not been able to forgive, people that you haven't been able to forgive, situations that you haven't been able to get past, like stories that you keep repeating that are anchored into 3D will keep you in 3D until you forgive, clear, vanquish, in some cases, clear curses. Like you have to do the work, okay? So there is no reason why you should still be dealing with 3D if you're doing the work. There's no reason, right? Because you know how to get through this stuff. So as something comes up, then you're clearing it. But the grid, the 3D grid, is actually dismantled. It doesn't exist anymore, which is the reason why everything in the news and in the, system and in the waves is pushing fear, because until people are in fear, they'll go back to the old wounds and the old stories. And so if they go back to the old stories, then they're anchoring and grounding into timelines that no longer exist and like resuscitating the fucked up situations, okay? Don't do that. Let them rest. Let the 3D rest, okay? It is done. It is outside of the realm of what we want. Period, the end. It is done. Let's let it rest in peace, okay? Whatever. Or burn in hell, whichever way you want to think about it. But it's done, okay? Done. On this note, let's light some incense, okay? This is our ceremony for everybody that is on here to be done fully, forever, completely, in all time and space, through every reality, every timeline. Clear it out. Clear it all out. Like you just want to be done, okay? Done. Singularity, like you literally, when you do the work, when you do this emotional work, like you literally collapse time and space and you go into like a singularity where you're done and you find the spot in the possibilities of your life where this shift happens and you go next level and you jump and you take the leap and you're done. I'm gonna go like bibbity boppity boop, okay? Like our good old Cinderella's fairy godmother did. You're done. Let it go. Forgive, heal, do the work. If you haven't done it, do that work. So then we transition to 5D. 5D is what's known as the new earth. This is the stage, calling it stage, frequency, bandwidth, like everything is kind of like a sphere of existence where you're all of a sudden everything is love and light. Right? And it's like, oh my gosh, unity consciousness, love and light. This is amazing. Your heart opens. You're talking to the Pleiadians, right? You're working with the Arcturians. Generally, that kind of happens at the same time. You're figuring out your star family. You're like, holy shit, I'm not from here. Everything else is a lie. I have been lied to. The government's trying to poison me. Everything is a lie. Like all this stuff comes up and then you go through all of those things. And then you're staying in light and love as much as you can, but then you're like, shit, there's like this whole situation happening. How am I staying in light and love, right? So then once the light and love phase where everything is bliss and you're trying to figure out how to live, right? And then there's a time where it's like, everything is making sense. You're starting to see the light codes. Everything is like free flow. Everything is like, hey, we're all like, it's just, there's a phase where we don't care because everything awakens inside. And then you're like, shit, I got to bridge this gap and I got to bring it into like making it real for actual functionality. Like, I don't just want to go by, right? Like the universe is going to provide mode from festival to festival or whatever, like people loving on each other and whatever. Not like that phase lasts for a while. And then you're like, shit, I got to do something about this thing, right? And then you move on. You start working with the frequencies, 6 and 7D. You start working with sacred geometry. You start working with sound. You start remembering more. You're like, oh my gosh, I have to do something about this. I am actually here on purpose. I am on mission. I got things to do on planet Earth. Okay, I got to move this a little bit. Okay, so then you get to 8D. When you get to 8D, you're working with your Akashic records, okay? This is your karma. So basically, all of a sudden, as you're doing the rabbit hole, like figuring out of what's really going on, oh my God, like I want to open my third eye, all these things, you shift dimensionally. Because as you learn, light is information. Information is light. The more information you intake, light produces in your body, you clear out the density, your body becomes more light, less density, you shift, you vibrate higher, you start eating more fruits, more avocados, all the things that are good for you, like more veggies, more fruit, more alive stuff, like less meat, no processed shit, because you're like, this shit is done, there's nothing processed in your life, unless like sometimes you're integrating crystalline light and then you're like really craving sugar and you're like, whatever, I need sugar. So there's phases, okay? And we learn to go with the body. So because the body sometimes is like, oh my gosh, I need grounding, like give me something to, to ground me in. There's too much light in here. So we have to go through these phases, all right? Okay, so the big part that a lot of people are coming on right now is karmic clearing. Remember, when everything, like earlier this year, it was a big throat chakra activation. This was a speaking up, right? Which was contorted by everything that happened in the world, by all the things matter movements, black boxes, and like all sorts of things, and like just the narrative of what should be done taken over, and people made feel guilty if they didn't conform to certain things, okay? This happened during, on the other side, in 5D, 60, 70, 8D, well, no, in 5 through 70, what was happening, not AD quite yet, I'll tell you in a second. What was happening was a throat chakra activation. So people were actually learning to speak up, right? So then the people on the other side are like, shit. So some of the people on the planet Earth are conforming. They're, using the hashtags. They're doing the black boxes. They're doing all these things. But some people are actually really speaking up. They're figuring this shit out. We should probably create more drama and chaos. Let's have them wear a fucking mask, right? Like, there's all sorts of things that have happened because it's not on accident, right? Everything is happening according to a certain way. Also, there's a huge political agenda. There's a huge globalist agenda. There's all sorts of things. And we should probably not trigger any more of these words so that this live stays here. So there's many things that happen. So long story short, this is a throat chakra activation. Everyone on planet Earth is learning how to speak up, stand for what they believe in, and stand in their truth. Lots of breakup, lots of like family, like I have to leave you behind, like you have to let people go, like you have to stand up for your truth, boundaries, right? All sorts of things. Then after that phase, you stand in your truth. You're like, I am powerful. You claim your power. You're like understanding what higher self embodiment is. You're talking to the star beings. You're probably doing astral journeys, right? You're like getting empowered. Your light body's coming in and you're like, oh my gosh, what is all this new level of shit? Now you're working with the Akasha. Now you're integrating your Akashic records, right? All of your past lives are coming in. You're remembering galactic lives. You're remembering Earth lives. Your galactic karma comes in. You're working with Archangel Uriel. You're working with all the people in the cosmos. You're like, shit, this stuff goes deep. This is bloodline stuff. I've got to deal with this shit, right? And it goes beyond. And so then you have to start clearing your karma, your blood, your DNA, your genes, your genetics. You have to recode everything in your body. So much forgiveness, so much forgiveness, so many tears, so many fire ceremonies, right? Like you have to go through this stuff. So, can you help with how to deal with the global agenda? Yes, we're gonna talk about that in just a minute. Okay, so hang on one second, guys. I just can't see you very well for whatever reason. Okay, so I can't really see the questions. Maybe I'm just not meant to see the questions. So we're going to talk about that right after, okay? Because I want to explain to you what's happening on our side, and then we're going to talk about how to deal with it so that you understand. So basically, part of the agenda is to block all these things that are happening because they damn well know, my loves, like everything about everybody that has been in the big house that is of that one color on the one side of the United States. If I say any of these words, we'll get triggered, right? Over there, the puppet show that is supposedly in charge of the country, that is all relatable back to the days of the kings and the queens and the things that happened in Europe, specifically in England, okay? So this is where all of the ancient stuff started. Everything is trackable back to that, okay? Like there's big things that happen. In the courts, again, side note, I grew up in Italy. I studied very deeply, Henry's home. I studied very deeply everything that has to do with the history of Europe. So in Europe, I grew up, for example, in Italy for New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, like part of the, whatever programming on TV is that they tell you, like they do astrology. Astrology is a big deal. Everyone in the courts was always advised by an astrologer. Every king had an astrologer. Every queen had an astrologer. Everyone over there that is in a position of power has an astrologer. Why? Because they understand astrologers generally speak English. In fact, speak energy. So they can translate what happens from the stars and what happens on Earth and how to deal with that. In fact, my loves, the whole story about the three kings that went to see the birth of baby Jesus, which is written in the Bible, off of a comet star. That was all an astrological prediction. And the three kings, that got sorely mistakenly translated, but in Latin, because I studied Latin, okay, which is the language of the Romans, which is where a lot of this shit got like mistranslated over. So like I like to dig into things. But anyways, the name in Italian, so all those of you that speak Italian, is Tre Re Magi, which means the magician kings, which were astrologers, okay? The reason why they were called magicians is because they knew astrology and they knew energy. So this stuff got like, sidelined in the US because that was just not the vibe. Here, they did not want people to understand these things or know these things because it was just, meant to be like no feelings and hardcore. There was a whole other agenda that took over here. Okay, so this is to say they are very aware, okay? Like they are being led and guided by astrology. They understand the cosmic positioning of the planets. They have psychic spies that have warfare throughout countries. Like it's not a joke. Like you guys are starting to see that this stuff is really real, okay? So they completely understand this stuff. They know where we are at. They do. And so because of that, sometimes I feel like my phone, has like radiation moments that I can feel spuking out at me. Do you ever feel like all of a sudden your phone actively like scans just because? So I just put crystals and stuff on it, orgonite. Okay. And I have organ on my phone too. Okay, so back to this. So they know and they understand what's happening. Therefore, the things that they roll out in the media and in the, things, like every major trend thing that happens is started by bot accounts, which means they're robot accounts. They're not people accounts that are programmed by people that are, like all the untrackable, whatever, hacker shit that tracks back to the people that we're talking about. And those are bot accounts that start talking about things like the pandemic, right? Like the madness always starts from fake account. It's just that everyone has this thing where they want to be a part of something great and they want to be a part of the movement. And so they repeat this shit because it's like, oh my gosh, this is happening. I have to tell people. But you don't actually know whether or not it's true. So things become crazy and they escalate, and this is how it's set up, okay? Everybody wants the attention of being in the know, of being in the top story. Not everyone, counsel. The majority of people that are currently asleep, okay? Actually, all the people that are currently asleep and some of the people that are awake that don't understand that when they do that, actually they play into the system games. So this is what's going on. So they know what's going on, so they figure out literally how to insert like holographic, energetic situations into the world so that all the humanity population reacts in a certain way to anchor in a particular timeline, okay? So if you understand this, you also understand that whenever there is a reaction that is looked for, like ask yourself, what is the wanted outcome of this situation that's happening in government right now, that's happening in the news right now, that's happening in this? What do they want out of this, right? What is the long game? What do I want? How do I get what I want and not what they want, right? So you have to figure that stuff out. So in the meantime, obviously this stuff is happening. So what better ways to like put races against each other and tell people, to put a mask on their faces and have them be scared for their lives when the whole planet is going through a throat chakra activation and they're, we just went through, this is 5D. Your heart is 5D. Your throat is 7D. This is speaking up your truth, okay? And then when you get to going up and you get to beyond up here, okay, and your pineal gland, which obviously they've been doing all this work on for people to like not awaken and put fluoride in the water and put fluoride in your toothpaste and, all of the other chemicals and bullshit because there's so much money in there. So then all of a sudden you get to your Akasha, okay, your Akashic records. At the 8th dimensional level, you're plugged into your Akasha. Everything has to be integrated. So this is your karma. This is the story that you came to Earth with through all the cycles of your Earth life. So you have to clean all of that out. So if you had Earth karma, if you came in another lifetime and did some shitty things, this is when you got to clean them out. Okay, if you came in and you did some stupid shit because you came in the Middle Ages and it was still, everything was fucked up, whatever. Everybody was doing fucked up shit. You still get to like right the wrongs and like figure it out. So you have to clean up all the cycles. Maybe you have galactic karma. Maybe you came from the stars and you came to reconcile karma that comes from the wars in Orion or like other things, right? Everybody has different shit. We all got shit to clean up. This I can tell you for sure, okay? It's also karma from this life. Maybe you did some really shitty things to people, like in your childhood or whatever, or you received shitty, abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, like whatever the hell, like that all gets to be cleared out. That is forgiveness. That's karmic stuff. A lot of the times when we pick to go through things like abuse is because we're paying off debt, and that's the fastest way to pay off debt from other lifetimes. And then we just have to go through forgiveness. So whatever it is you got to do the thing. Okay. So, sounds like the Hunger Games. It's totally like the Hunger Games. I've only ever seen one of that series of movies, but when I watched, I was like, this is creepy. This is actually very, very much on point. It's like that. Holographic inserts in reality are a thing that actually happens. We talk about it in the Metaphysical Mastermind. So these are things that I teach you about, in depth on how to like what to do and how to work through the stuff, obviously in my courses, because it would take me a long time to explain them here. And that's why I have courses about it. So, yes, anything that is also blocking awakening with alcohol. Yeah. So, alcohol was called a spirit back in the days because literally alcohol cracks your aura. So if you have any more than like whatever, usually it's like 1 or 2 glasses of something, okay, your aura cracks and entities can come in and out. So basically you have like your energy exchange gets tainted, and not only that, you just, you're just incapacitated. Alcohol does that. And that's why there's such a thing as a hangover. I mean, we know it's not good. It's just that sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, and I'm the first to have a glass of red wine. Love the red wine. 1 glass is great. Like do it so that you understand that it's like, thank God again, I grew up in Italy where this stuff is like, it's for the taste, it's for the joy of it. It's not to get drunk. In the United States, and also in a lot of places, all of a sudden, it's like, the campaigning to get drunk, and they make it cool. Hollywood, all of that makes it like look cool if you're dumb and if you drink and if you do all this stupid shit. Why? Because that just like keeps you in darkness. It keeps you in a place where your body is not physically able to ascend. Okay. The cool shit and the light shit are generally not the same thing. Okay. The socially accepted cool shit, not what you want to do as a light warrior at all. It's really shitty. You have a choice, right? And it's like the popular shit is not generally the new earth shit. It's not, even though it's starting to shift and people are starting to understand, right? But like, I have a lot of clients that come to me and they're like, oh my God, my partner doesn't understand that I don't want to drink anymore. And I'm like, it's fucking backwards. It is backwards, right? Because it's like, it should be that people sometimes drink, not that we have a society that's freaking addicted to medication and alcohol and chemicals. This was the plan all along, right? This was the game all along, is to get a bunch of people dependent on substances, okay? Which is why I am a very strong stand for doing all the things that we do, all the light work that we do it without things, without medicine. I teach you how to get to where you need to go to shift your insides of your body without any kind of medicine, without anything external. Because should you be anywhere in the world and you need to figure out what the fuck is going on, you're not going to get, like, you don't have things. What if you have a raging headache and you can't get to ibuprofen? Whatever. This is a dumb example. But I'm just saying, right? Or like there are people also that are like, oh my gosh, I need to talk to my spirit guides. I need to, I need mushrooms or whatever. Like I need to like do this. So I need to have a journey, what the fuck ever. You can do that shit anyways. You can do that stuff. You are the boss of your physical body. Learn how to produce your own DMT. It is so much better, right? Learn how to produce your own chemicals. You're in charge. You can do that stuff anytime. You get to be in control of your body, right? By body, mind, and spirit. That's superpower. That's not like, hey, I need an outside thing, right? And outside things are great. Like incense is great, candles are great. Like they're great. It's just great to not have to rely on them because clearly this world is shifting and we're constantly recalibrating. So when you are the master of yourself, now you've got something that you're working with. Do you see what I'm saying? So, okay, so we were at 8 and 9D. So 8 and 9D, you're clearing out all this karma. Then you're plugging into the major timelines. Like 9D is where you begin to create, which is why I often say this. There's a lot of teachers that are spiritual teachers that base their teachings on old books that came up in the 80s, right? They came out in the 80s and they pretend like the stuff is new, and it's not new because there have been teachers that talked about this stuff. But the thing is, in 2012, it changed. So now from 9D, we go up to 12D because in 2012, Earth ascended as a galactic consciousness. So we now have all the way to 12D. And actually, as of this year, we have from 12 to 24. That's a whole other ballgame. Let's talk about like the rest of it, okay? So when people stop and talk about things that stop at 9D, you know that they're not plugged into the now. That is not the now. You want to follow somebody or like resonate with somebody that can handle taking you through everything that is currently, at least people need to anchor in 12D. Okay, because we're going next. So what happens in 9D, you're plugging in galactic. This is your soul family. Okay, then after that, like it's your chakras keep going up. The dimensional field keeps going up. And you go all the way until you land the deepest portion of yourself all the way anchored into the heart of the universe. And then you become an expanded being. And then you take your power back. And then you remember all your lifetimes. Everything comes together inside of you. It's wild. It's amazing. But you have to clear. It's also hard to like express until you've explained it, right? Until you actually are having these experiences and you're like, holy motherfucking shit, I just really felt that. Like, I know that, to be me, or I can do this. I just had this experience of it and I know, right? Because reading it or having an idea or thinking is different than I know, right? So when you guys talk to me and when you're plugging into my energy, like right now, you feel me, right? And the reason why you feel it is because I have experienced that. And so you feel the energy that I'm putting off and you're like, that feels like energy that I want to plug into, right? And so that's different. I'm not telling you something I read. I'm telling you something that I experienced and I know how to do, which is different. So, anyways, I digress because there's a lot of people also that ask me these kinds of questions about like, hey, but so-and-so said this. So at least have someone that can take you all the way to 12D, okay? And that's good. Okay, what else were we talking about? Yes. So sometimes plant medicine can be a way to awaken people. Oh, absolutely. So I am not saying that it's bad. Please understand this. I am saying that sometimes like people, like you can do the work either way, okay? So let's like clear this up. You can do the work either way. I have personally found a way to do this work because I had to. I had like, if you go through my journey, I started life by myself really young. So I had to just figure out shit really young. I had to figure out like if God was really there, if there were angels, like all this stuff. I had to figure it out real quick. And I went through like dark nights of the soul real quick. And so I learned how to access different knowledge that was in my Akashic records and how to like, do certain things. So, and how to like astral project, how to go visit my family in Italy. Like I just, spent a lot of time figuring this stuff out for myself. So I never needed the plant medicine. I never needed any of these things. I always just knew. And then I realized that people didn't know how to do these things and that the time had come for me to teach this stuff. And so what happens is some people don't even know where to start. And so they're like, oh my God, ayahuasca journey. Oh my God, I need to do whatever. Whatever. There's many ways. It's not a bad thing. A lot of times what happens during that is you come face to face with the shit that you haven't dealt with, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I got work to do. But you have choices. You can always go back to medicine to help you with it, or you realize that you're actually in charge, right? And so there's just people that use this stuff as like an excuse to not do work on their own. And that's where I have a problem with it, quote unquote. I mean, everybody can do whatever they want, but I'm just saying you don't have to have medicine or medicine journeys in order to figure shit out for yourself. You can know it right now, right? And so once you understand how this stuff works, like I have people that come to me and they're like, oh, I'm like trying to figure all this stuff out. But like next month, there's this shaman or there's this medicine, and it's like, why do you have to wait for an entire month to figure that out? Like, go and do this and like figure it out like this. This is my world. I want it now, right? And so I don't like to be dependent on other things. But I know that I know what to do and I know that I can get it now. And so I'm willing to do that work for it, right? So that's how it works. Okay, so I love that you guys are explaining things to each other. Yeah, and there's always a place. Don't get me wrong. Now that I have an understanding, I didn't try anything that was medicine until literally I was 40 years old because I had an understanding of different things, right? So I was like, okay, now that I feel like I can literally like go close out records, deal with the council. I know my maps all around. I know exactly what is me. I know exactly what is not me, to the extent that I'm capable of. Now let me see what a medicine, like let me see how I can ride something in my body, right? So then I do that, and now there's a whole other awareness, and there's a whole other understanding, and there's a whole other realm of things I can do. And I've also discovered that some of the medicines, some of the plant medicines, get you exactly to the places that we go naturally with breath. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, that stuff is like a shortcut, right? It's like a shortcut, but would you want to do that, right, and not have control over it? So it's a different experience, but you can learn to ride it, and you also learn what is you and what is not you, and then you can power it up. So the more you understand how to work your energy inside of your body, the better that stuff works out. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so it's just like anything. I just don't like, it's not good to be addicted to anything. Like if you have to have something in order to get better, like, and you can't get that thing, which is literally what the government is like planning on, right? They're getting everybody on antidepressants, everybody on like whatever, so that everyone is addicted. And then they're going to say, hey, we're going to take it all away. And if you want it, now you're going to have to do this and this and this and this. And so you don't want to be addicted to any kind of medicine, anything you pick up at the pharmacy. If it's not a one-time deal, work your way off of those meds. That's bad juju. That's addictions that work your way out of that stuff. That's dependency. Just like alcohol is can be a dependency. All things in moderation, my loves. Okay, so we digress. But anyways, once we get to 12D, so these are all the Ds. Once you get to 12D, which happened, 12D frequencies became available. Last year, on the 1111 portal, our world changed. Which is the reason why all of this shit show happened now in 2020, because all of a sudden 12D landed on our planet and it was like, whew, New Earth is now available. So the people in the government are like, fuck, we better do this and this and this, because otherwise all the people are going to awaken and things are getting figured out. So now, they have to do their shit, and we got to do our shit. We got to do our work. So, and that's okay. This is what we're showing up for. So it became available. And then as the 12D became available, this is the full template. 12 is one of the numbers that is key, one of the keys to our universe. This universe is predicated on the number 12, which is why 12 is the only number that has a word associated with it, which is a dozen, right? Like there's no other number that we call anything else. There's 12 hours in the clock. There's 12 houses in the zodiac. Everything is 12. There's so many 12s, 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 okay? It goes to the 144 because this is our DNA. This is our genome. This is the shit that we have to awaken in the blood. So all of that conversation is based on the 12, okay? 13 is God consciousness, which is why when you ask to travel with me, we go all the way up to our 13th chakra, which is where we merge from the 12th dimensional plane to the God consciousness. That's where you want to be. This is the energy that we're now embodying, and then we're, opening up the next template, which is the 12 to 24, which is a whole other ballgame. So this is what, nobody wants to happen over here on this other side of the planet. Why? At 12D, you really become creators in 9D already. So when you're 9D and 10D, you really become creation. Like it's creation mode. But it becomes full blown when you really land into 12D and like you're working with the morphogenic field, like you've integrated like the photonic light, you got your crystalline light column running strong, chakras are all merged, like your energy is strong, your field is strong, your aura starts to code your outside reality to everything that you want, and you start to see it. So when we're talking about, hey, what are we doing around because of these things? If every single one of you was able and capable, because you are, okay, to shift your own reality and recode it as you go every single day, we're in business, because all of our new realities, like all of our power, as we get more powerful and our auras keep expanding and expanding, like we're all merging our personal realities together. Okay. As we do this, there is no room for other stuff. Like we will recode the planet. This is what we want to do. So if everyone can get in control of their reality, boom, new earth manifest. That's what you can do. Okay. Which means that every time you see something in your reality that you don't want to deal with, you are in full charge of shifting it. If there's a place that enforces some kind of policy that you have to deal with, that you don't want to deal with, you have to figure out how to shift that and how to make it so that your reality does not make that. Like you have to decide what you're available for, what you're not available for. And you have to be pretty fucking unapologetic about it, right? This is where I stand. This is what I want. And you have to hold it, which is why a big part of what I teach you guys in like the most recent courses, and I really started like teaching this practice at the last retreat, is how to hold a frequency, okay? And so like it takes me a while to get you to that place, but once you experience it, you're like, oh my gosh, and then you come back to it, and then you come back to it. When you learn to hold and embody the thing that you want to create, then the frequency around you, the reality around you gets recoded. There's no other way but for that thing to happen, okay? It's like it says in the Bible. Let me quote the Bible for a second, because we always had solid, good Bible references. The Bible is like one of these things that have just been misinterpreted and misunderstood throughout the history of time. Also because the, correct translation was not available. But if you have faith as a grain of salt or mustard or something, as a little tiny thing, right? Whatever, I can't speak Bible, but if you say to the mountain, move, it shall move, it will move. But you have to have faith, right? Or in the Bible, it also says, which means you can shift that. We can literally move a mountain. It is written in the Bible, just have faith like a grain of fucking sand or salt or whatever it is. So wild. Just like it says, if you pray to God, right? God, angels, universe, whatever you want to call it. If you say your prayers, okay, if you ask for things and ask for something knowing that you will receive it, you will have it. That's called fucking manifesting in the Bible, okay? So a lot of things have just not really been explained, but this is the same stuff. So the Bible basically right there is teaching people how to hold the frequency. Nobody understood it. I literally was having these conversations with my girlfriends last night at dinner, and one of my girlfriends was like, I feel like everything that was said in the Bible was like, and it came to pass, and it came to pass, and it came to pass. That's all I remember. I don't remember anything of substance. And I was like, okay, we need to clean this up. We need to like have some like solid things in there. And it's not that you need to. It's just that every time you look at an ancient book, okay, wanting to find truth, you will find truth. If you don't want to find it, like you can open any book with the intention of finding something that resonates with you and it will work, right? You can open the Kabbalah, you can open the Emerald Tablets, you can open the Bible, you can open so many different things. You will find the things that are truth because that's what you're attracting. That's what you're in resonance of. Okay, so it's all about how you read too. This is, I teach all this stuff in depth in the Metaphysical Mastermind. We go over different passages of how things have just been misinterpreted over the years. So, okay, mustard seed, you guys know, yay, okay. Amazing. Yeah, it really is like that. Ancient books have just been misinterpreted and a lot of knowledge has been taken out too, so. But it's just religion twists things. And so, everybody thinks of like it's really easy to just say whatever, like religion has become something different of a way of life that generally is restrictive and understood that way instead of actually like, my parents are LDS and I just always tell them, I'm like, some of the stuff that are written in these books are like amazing. They actually talk in there, you guys, about how many gods there are, like how many worlds are created and how the stars are alive. And they actually are in charge of governing like the planets. I'm like, why do you think astrology is a thing? Because the stars, AKA the planets, AKA the astrology, influences Earth. It is written in your sacred books. Can you fucking read it accurately? So, just like they also talk about, like how many times, you guys, in the Bible, there's angels appearing to people all the time. There's people falling down to the ground because they can't withstand the light of the beings that show up. This is all in the motherfucking Bible. Like, there's also stories of giants. Some people have asked me recently, like, what about giants? Did they live on, because now they're like coming out with some stories of giants and like inner earth and stuff. I'm like, it's actually, we have a record of it and it's in the Bible. Not only that, you guys, we have like megalithic structures that clearly show that there were gigantic, ginormous beings that sat on huge thrones that lived here on earth. These were not humans, okay? This was us back in the days in the galactic civilizations came down here. And I'm going to take you through timelines. Those of you that are part of the retreat, if you come here in person or in the digital retreat, I'm going to take you back to the first lifetime on Earth. I'm so excited. We got like serious work to do. So yeah, those of you that were asking about like, what do? We have to do our work, which is why so many of you are now getting called to doing, you're stepping into your light worker mode. So it's like you're a grid keeper, you're a portal keeper, you're a portal opener, you're a grid worker, right? You're a light weaver, like you're a frequency holder, like all of a sudden, and this is like the question I get asked the most in my one-on-one readings is like, what am I here to do? Like, what's my job? I feel like all these things are happening. Or sometimes people schedule sessions with me and they're like, what the fuck is going on with me? I feel like I'm going to die. I have things happening inside. Help, tell me what's going on, right? And I realized that those people that think they're losing their shit, like some people literally, like it feels like death because they don't even know, they don't understand, but their soul had contracted to do this and their timing is going off. And so one way or another, like they have to find me or someone that can help because somebody has to be like, whoa, you're downloading all this shit, like your chakras are trying to bat, you know what I mean? Then this is what's going on. This is your job. This is what you have to do. Like you're coming into your powers, you're going to have to pay attention to that stuff, right? Because otherwise you're going to feel like shit because the body cannot metabolize the amount of light and light codes and information that is coming in if you don't know how to regulate your body and how to regulate the energy of your body. It will blow up, right? So you will feel sick, you will feel depleted, you will be in bed. Your body doesn't know how to process. That's, why we do the work that we do. So, okay, so it's very tangible. So we have work. These light gifts are not a joke, right? So it's been fun, quote unquote, to do things like, oh, let's blow up light bulb. Like, oh, I'm getting the power in my hands, right? Like, oh, we can make this happen. Look at this. Or I can do this, or I can see colors. Like, it has been fun, but now it's like, okay, now it's time for like the real X-Men situation. You know, and like the little baby X-Men in the movies are like, you know, they're all like blowing shit up and like, oh my gosh, look at my superpowers. I feel like that's kind of like what's happened to the, you know, the light workers in general. And now it's like, we got to use the real things, like get your skills and your superpowers on, because we have work to do. So for the solstice, what we get to do and what I'm going to teach you to do is I'm going to teach you how to do these things. So it's, you know, how to work with the portals, how to work with the grid, how to make it all come together. What you have to do, because we literally have to birth this new reality together. So I know that there will be a lot of you that will be around the globe, because we have a whole thing that has to happen around the planet. It's going to be really cool. And we're all going to be involved. And it's like, you're going to feel like this is shit I came to Earth for. Like, oh my God, I actually did that. Right. So, we're coming up on it. Like, so we have to practice, which is why everybody that's part of the retreat, we're going to do work before so that we can actually show up ready for the solstice. Okay. What happens for you, this is completely going to transform your life, because in order to do this work, you have to embody your power. You have to embody your gifts. When you do that, you become the attractor and the creator of your own reality, which means you begin to thrive in this world, which means you begin to recode the reality, hold space, not just for yourself, but you like blast out bombs of light for all the people around you, right? So all of a sudden you hold space, not just for yourself, but for your family, like for the people around you, to like level up. And so we have to do this, and we transition grids, like we transition our grounding, our grids, our work, everything to the new earth, okay? And then this stuff is going to crumble. What's going to happen is, as the old world crumbles, everyone is going to be like, okay, now where do we go? We're going to be those people. We're going to have the lines connected. We're going to have the structures built. There will be systems in place of new earth. We are the keepers of those systems, okay? So this is what's happening, is we are the founders. We're here to be the founders of new earth. We have to do the groundwork for it. This is the same thing that we did back in the days when we decided, let's go down to earth. This is a solid, good idea. We should probably ascend that planet. That's when it was started, okay? Which is why you have this like longing for like greater things and understanding and knowledge, because we have to reconcile with all the knowledge we deposited back on earth back in the days when we decided to volunteer for this. So we have to do that. And now we have to like work with our own codes. Nobody can do it besides us. These are our own codes that we deposited on the planet. So like, the whole thing is coming together. It's really exciting for me. It's a really big job, but it's really exciting, and we can do this. And we have to hold together the structures of New Earth. This is why we're switching to New Earth life, New Earth businesses, right? Relationships that are built on values. Oh, so when I'm talking about like New Earth living and like all this stuff, this is switching over belief systems, okay? Structures of how you do things, of how you live. Like literally our beliefs, our belief systems, the things that we know, okay? This is what our reality is predicated upon. So we have to switch things from distrust to trust, from hate to love, from separation to unity, from powerless to, you know, from victim to power, like from victim to sovereign, really, from powerless to power, from dumb to know, right? We have to switch. We have to like disinstall all this like lower vibrational bullshit and install all this newer vibrational bullshit, like not bullshit, new shit. Let's call it new shit. We just like to cuss sometimes. So once you install all the new, like understandings, the new values, the new systems, okay, then you frequency match people being like in other businesses and circumstances that are creating this life, right? For example, like, let me give you an example. If you're in New Earth, You're likely, for example, to look for a product on Etsy versus Amazon, right? Because you know, like the creators are on Etsy. Like there's different things that start to happen where instead of going to like a doctor in the system, you go to a healer, you go to a shaman, you go to a light worker, you go to a Reiki master. Like you start living life in a different way. You go to holistic medicine, right? You go and you work on yourself and your health in different ways. Like you minimize your interaction with the old systems and you maximize everything that you have available. You buy organic, you support the local, things. Like you do certain things in a way that supports systems of life in a different way. You're very intentional. You don't just do things because this is convenient. You begin to be more intentional about the things that you do. You take responsibility for everything that you do, right? You don't set something in motion that's like, oh, whoops, I guess I did that. And I know that's going to have repercussions. I don't know. You start to be very much in charge of like what you say, who you say it to, how it's going to affect them, right? You help others. You put a smile on their face. You light up their day. You don't just, spread more negativity. This is why I get mad when I see like things that get reposted like, oh my God, this is happening. What the fuck? That's not going to do anything for anybody. So don't do that. That's not new earth. That's old bullshit stuff. Okay. So if you're going to share something in a new earth kind of way, do it because you're serving. Quit your whining, quit your bitching about what the fuck happened to 2012, to 2020. Do something about it. This is new earth. Old earth we bitch, new earth we do. Okay, so come over here. This is where we're victorious. This is where we have solutions. This is where we have possibilities. This is where everything is possible. This is where we hold together the framework of a new reality. When you're over here, you're in depression, you're in bitching, you're in making days worse and spiraling down. When you're over here, you're in making people's days better, vibrating higher, illuminating the life of people, right? And holding this new framework together. Okay? So, yay. I'm glad that you guys are understanding this. So, that's the job. So, I didn't talk in specifics about the karma stuff, but really go and I've talked about it before, and also we did like a karmic clearing in the last astral travel that is here. It's now actually on my YouTube too. Like, go and do work. The way that you know that you have to do the work for it is you don't feel right. You're not happy, okay? If you're not happy, figure out what the thing is that is bothering you, that is depressing you, that is taking you down. What is that thing? Why is it taking you down? Start the digging. Figure it out. You have to have the balls to deal with your shit, okay? There's no more like pretending. So once you actually look at it, and we can call this, like I say it in a very strong way to make a point, you can call it being very raw and vulnerable and real, right? And get very honest. But however you do this, like really do it. It's not fluffy and, crystals. It's not. Crystals help, but if you don't actually dig inside and are willing to go look at the fucked up shit that has happened inside that you have to rewrite and you have to heal, just going to get crystal therapy on the weekends whenever you feel like you're unaligned ain't gonna do it for you. Okay, so let's get clear on that. You have to really do the inner work. Forgive your parents, forgive your family, okay? Forgive your exes, clear out those karmic things. If anybody is doing something to you in your world, which that's not even a thing, but if you feel like, oh, I hate it when so-and-so treats me like this or does this to me or whatever, that's on you to clear it up, okay? That's the stuff you have to do, the internal work that changes your vibration to where that thing will no longer find you, will no longer match you, which means you have to deal with your shit. Okay, and if you don't know how to do that, my mentor, Gary Acevedo, is great at doing that. We do some of that in the soul work in Goddess on Mission. You have to go back and you have to deal with your childhood. That's like that's a place where you can do a lot of healing, is going back to your childhood, okay? Everybody's got mom and dad issues. I don't care if you think your parents are great. At some point, there was baggage that was created, okay? And now you're perpetuating it in your love life. If you have issues with your mom, at some point in your childhood, now you're perpetuating that in your love life, okay? If you had issues with your dad, now you're perpetuating that in the issues, like in your money manifesting game. So you heal that, you have real life, better love, better money, okay? There's real reasons to like forgive and to do this work that actually help. Because once you forgive, forgiveness equals freedom. So once you actually do it, but you don't just say, oh, whatever, I've forgiven them. No, if there's no like sweat, tears, and in some cases like snot, and like if you didn't bawl your eyes out and burn some shit probably and punch some pillows because you're actually really, really angry about it and you have to let that shit go, that's not it. Okay, that's not it. It's not love and light. Love and light will not get you to unearth that shit. The love and light comes after you do that shit. So you have to get into these things, okay? So that's the real like deep wound stuff. That's number one. If you have not dealt with that, you got to deal with that. If anything shows up in your life that you don't like, take responsibility for it. Where does this come from? Okay? Where does this come from? So, for example, I'm going to talk about this because I feel like this is probably something that could be helpful. This came up in my conversations with my girlfriends last night about being in a relationship and attracting, like having boundaries, having like knowing what you want in relationships, like of, what you're available for and what you're not available for. And how it has nothing to do with the person that you're with. So it's not the man, the woman, the partner you're with. For example, like if they're doing something like cheating on you, talking to somebody else, like looking up porn, whatever, things that you don't like you're not available for. You don't want to be available for because for you, it doesn't feel right. There's no judgment on it. Like some people have open relationships, so it doesn't even matter. It's whatever you're not available for that doesn't feel good that you have a boundary around. Why? Why is that stuff showing up? Where is it in your story of your partnerships, of your sex life, that there is shit that still needs to be cleaned up? Okay? Where? Go back. For me, this stuff goes back to a whole situation when I was younger and I was a teenager and my parents found out I had sex. And it was a whole shame, right? And it was this whole thing that just traumatized me. And until I cleared that up, I kept attracting the same story. But I didn't think about it because that's the stuff in your teens that you're like, whatever, my parents told me this. But if you don't start digging, right, you don't see it. Because somehow, somewhere along the lines, you shoved it under the rug, you put a Band-Aid on it, you forgot. But your reality keeps telling you otherwise because things that you don't like are showing up. If things that you don't like are showing up somewhere along the line of your story, of your history, either here or galactic, depending on what it is, you have to understand these are both things, okay? There is something that has to be cleaned out. So that's the deal. Oh, I forgot to mention on the retreat page too. So I'm going to add more info. So let's talk about this. The solstice retreat is happening here at Mi Casa in person, December 19th through the 21st. So it's only 3 days in person. It's 1 night, 2 days. Okay. 1 night, cacao ceremony, happy hour. La. We're going to have gong bath and all the things. And then on the, and there's more things that I'm adding into the list. But I wanted to give you like an idea as I reorganized everything. And then the 20th, we're going to do all the work, all the light stuff. And then the 21st, we're going to be right there interweaving light. We're going to be opening portals, doing the groundwork, doing the grit work. We're going to be in the mix of it, fighting the fight that we came to fight. Okay. And so I'm going to teach you how to do all these things. But before we do that, I have to have you guys clear, okay? So part of it is you're going to get my book of clearings. Like, so you're going to get like a whole thing. Like you're going to get a manual. We're going to go through this and we're going to deal with some of this shit. And I'm going to take you through how to deal with some of these things because it's just time. You've got to let the shit go so that we can make room to actually do the work we came to do. So I'm going to do my best to do this digital with you so that by the time we get here, or even if you join in person, we're clean, right? right? Like we're as clean and squeaky as we can be in the crystalline light, ready to do the work. So yeah, it's like quite the undertaking. And I am excited for it because it's just time. And so by the end of it, like my intention for you is to look at your skin and be like, holy shit, my crystals are active. And you can see in the sunlight, you can see that your skin actually like glitters because the crystalline structures inside of your body activate. That's your crystal, that's your, light body. That's, literally the crystals inside. So it's pretty cool. Like, it's pretty amazing. Reality will shift for you. You will no longer work on the same plane. Like walk and work on the same plane after this. So I'm super excited. And what else do I want to tell you about it? Oh yeah, I want to tell you about the clearing that I don't think that I put on there, but you will get everything. So you will have all of that information. Okay? Awesome. Okay, I thought I will always be dealing forever. So the details for this are on my website. Go to www.moonbabetribe.com. That's my homepage. Scroll down and you'll see the first picture. It says solstice retreat, going supernova. Whew, the smoke. So click on that and it will take you to a page. And it will show you, like, it has information. It's not all written out right now. And then I will keep adding to it, okay? And there's a checkout. There's a payment plan available. I will be adding the digital option tonight so that you guys can also register for the digital option. Also, I wanted to make a note of this too. This is a goddess retreat. So it is for women. But if you're a man and you feel, or however you consider yourself, because this is an open conversation, like whoever you are, if you feel called to being here, I speak in terms of goddess because that's the energy that I work with. This is warrior goddess energy. Everyone is going to get a feather crown, okay? If you come here in person, you will get a feather crown. I don't know if you can see mine. Let's see if we can show you out there. Da, 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 feather crown. I'm excited. I'm actually, we're going to be making these for you. So in person, this is open to 20 people. Last time we had crystal crowns. If you came last time with the crystal crowns, you can add the ones with the feathers. So you'll have crystals and feathers. So it'll be fun. And there will be feathers like this. It's going to be warrior mode. It'll be fun. So as soon as I have it, I'll show you guys. But okay, I get excited. We're going to have fun. We're going to have a shit ton of fun, obviously, because this is how I like to do this work, but we're also going to do real work. Okay. So again, moonbabetribe.com. And then on the homepage, click, scroll down, click on the picture and it will take you to the page and everything. So yay, I'm excited. Feathers. I know. There's Kelsey. Kelsey will be making the crowns. So I'm really excited. Kelsey and I, we'll see. We'll see how, but I know what we're doing, so it's going to be fun. So I started messing with them. That's what that means. And I didn't even have a chance to tell Kelsey yet. So Kelsey, I will be calling you. So and Kelsey will be here, my loves. And then we have room for 20 in the house because we have different processes that we'll be doing. And so last time we had I think 30. We ended up with 28 or 30. When we had the full or a little bit, somewhere around there, plus everybody that was helping. And that was for what we're doing this time, we need 20. So let us know. Message me or message Kelsey at Mermoonmaid here, who's just on the chat right here, if you have questions about it, okay? And we can also do a deposit and, so you hold your spot and then your payment in full and you can pay in increments. So, okay, how do we get the pre-work for the digital retreat too? So once you register for it, I'm going to start sending you, you'll actually get a packet. So you'll start to get clearings and videos that go along with it where you be able to start to practice this stuff and do the work for you. Okay. And then we're going to meet once before, so we'll have a live thing. It's going to be in November. it maybe, I don't know. We have the blue moon, the Halloween blue moon. So I have to figure out if we're going to meet before the Halloween blue moon, so at the very end of this month, or right at the beginning of November. So I will announce that, okay? But we're going to actually do some work together digitally, and then we're going to do work together on 11/11, and then on 12/12, and then on 12/17, and then we're going to meet in person on the 19th. So you'll be guided through this, but I know that we need one more, and so I just need to figure out where energetically that works for us. And then everybody that will be joining the retreat will also be joining us on the blue moon meditation. I think we're going to open that to everybody because that's like needed and necessary. So it's going to be good. So yay, yay, yay. Yes. Okay. I am so excited for this. This retreat has been like in the works. It's really a full course of like clearing and embodying the light and doing the light work that you came on planet Earth to do. So it's like a whole course like that. It will all just be recorded as a retreat, but everybody around the world will be able to have it. Okay. So, do I have healing books? I don't have any healing books. I know I need to write one. This is like one of the things. But I have a lot of videos and trainings on my YouTube, okay? So go through my YouTube library, go through, like if this is helpful for you, go through like all my IGTV videos, and like you'll start to just get in this energy and understand all of these different things. The books I write literally are the manuals for my retreats, for my courses. Like they're like full manuals. So one day I will actually write one of those and it will become a book. But I just am called to do this like insane kind of work. It's just not really insane. It's like you realize that this work that we're doing is like so at the edge of what is available on Earth right now. So that's where my focus is going. I have to hold so much light inside of my body to be able to hold and like the space for everyone. Like I feel all of you guys, right? When we do this work, whew, my heart just like sparked like a big, oh yeah, I have to show you this. Like it was like a big fire moment in my heart. Like I really felt it. But I connect with you guys when we do this work. And so I hold such an insane amount of light. I actually had to be, now I understand this. I was born with once in a million, like 1 in a million, congenital disease in my heart, where my electrical circuit in my heart would automatically, like I would go into fibrillations for no reason when I was a kid. And I finally had to have heart surgery when I was older. What happened as I was a child, and no surgeries were available for this yet, I had to feel what it feels like to have so much energy inside of my body and learn to sustain it, because the doctors were like, we could try open heart surgery, but like it's probably very dangerous. And so they said, if you can handle it, if you can learn how to hold this energy, right, and deal with the pain, they said, we can give you stuff for the pain, but if you can, figure out how to do this, it's not damaging your body. So like they figured out it wasn't damaging the body, it was just very painful. So of course I didn't take the pain stuff. I guess I was a stubborn kid. Probably my parents felt the same way, but I just learned how to like hold this, and it felt like a full-blown heart attack, and like my ears would like whistle, my left arm would go numb, like I had full-blown heart attacks, and sometimes I would pass out from the pain. And so I figured out how to like reset myself when I was a kid, right? Like all the time. It happened everywhere. It was the craziest thing. But and I always was like, oh my gosh. And then I couldn't do sports. I couldn't go on roller coasters. Like I couldn't do all this shit. Like as a child, it was really hard for me to like have this issue. And then when I started doing this work and I had to like embody this level of light, I started bawling. One day, like I had these guides that came in and told me and explained it to me of why, right? Because all of a sudden my heart started tripping again. And I was like, wait a minute. This has not happened since I was a kid. Like what's going on? And then I was explained this, and it's like, you know how to do this. You now get to do this and this and this with this energy. Your body can withstand it. And I was in tears. I was like, oh my gosh. It was like I had to learn how to hold this. And so now it's different because my body can sustain these like high, energetic, like it's wild. When I think back, I'm like, holy shit. But I bawled for days when I figured that out. Because it was just, like a problem. And like, that's why I say oftentimes, you guys, like when you have something like that, it really is a blessing that we just haven't figured it out yet. Right. And so, yeah. And so, but that has been such an amazing blessing now. So I had to go through so much shit when I was a kid to like deal with it and a teenager. But now I can hold so much light and I can hold this high frequency, which means I can ground it and then I can share it, right? And I can hold the connection with all of you guys. Like, so it's such a gift. It became such a gift for me that like I couldn't have imagined. But yeah, so superpowers, my love. Don't underestimate the shit that you went through when you were a kid. It all makes sense. Yes, little Sonia was a light warrior. Oh my gosh, absolutely. My mom started telling me, she watched me do light work recently, and she was like, you are doing the same things that you were doing as a kid. And I was like, what do you mean, Mom? She was like, you were always like this with your palms up, and it looked like you were directing music. I was like, really? Because this is what we do, and like we do astro travels, and I'm like, and there's this angel over here, and we're doing this over here. And she's like, you look like you did when you were a kid. You were doing the same things. I'm like, that wouldn't make sense. So apparently, yes. All right, my loves, I love you all so much. I hope this was helpful for you. I'm going to go through and figure out if there are things that we didn't talk about, and we'll discuss them again. I am like in full mode of like supporting you guys. So we'll do like different mini trainings through this time to like help everybody understand this transition. I also want to do like one on really how to plug into the 12th dimensional frequency grid and everything else. So lots of things coming up. Again, message me or message Kelsey if you have questions about the retreat. I am so excited to have you guys here. Like last time we did the Lionsgate retreat, and it was just like life-changing, amazing miracles on a whole other level. So I'm super excited for this one, and it's gonna be a whole other vibe. We're gonna like turn on the fireplace. We're gonna have like massive fire. We're gonna have fire and snow because it's gonna be snowy up here. So it's gonna be like a whole other vibe. I'm super excited for it. Let me know if you have questions. I love you all so much. I will see you here in the stories and on all the different social medias. I love you all. Mwah. It's Sonia G. This is the Moon Babes Thursday Night Live. We had a mini training, long talk, and we'll do another one. I love you all. It's at Moon Babes and the Light Tribe here on Instagram, and you can find me at www.moonbabetribe.com. Love you.